Good evening, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It's Thursday, which means match preview night, but also a look back first at Coventry City, who we knocked out of the Carabao Cup on Tuesday evening on penalties. Backs to the walls for most of the evening, but stayed in the game, credit to the boys. And an injury time penalty from Jordan Graham took it to spot kicks. And in fairness to us, we were flawless in the shootout, weren't we? All five went in. Coventry scored 4 and Blaze went over the bar, which see us go through to the next round where we will take on Wolves or Stoke. They play this evening, and we will then find out our fourth round opponents later tonight if we can get through that tie. Let's talk about Coventry first. Decent side. You can see why they got promoted out of our division as champions last year. They've got some very good players. Technically, they're decent. They keep it on the deck as much as they can. They're a threat going forward. Defensively, they're pretty strong, even with plenty of rotation. And they had a lot more of the ball than us Tuesday night, and we got the runaround for the most part. We had to dig in, we had to be good without the ball. We had to make sure that our application and our work rate and our desire to stay in the football game was absolutely spot on from first whistle to last. And first half, I thought we competed well. We didn't have loads of the ball, like I say, but when we got it down, we tried to play, tried to get into good areas. We started with a slightly different formation in the sense that it was Jordan Graham up front with Dane Oliver. And then we had Alex MacDonald in behind and a middle three to start with of Stuart O'Keefe, Matty Willock and Scott Robertson, who made his full debut. We'll get onto him a little bit later, and on to Stuart O'Keefe as well, sadly, for completely different reasons. I'm sure if you've been on social media today, the news has come out about Stuart O'Keefe out for the whole season. It looks like a broken leg as well as some ligament damage, which isn't ideal. It's far from it. He's been a very good player for us since arriving last summer. So that, on top of the fact that Carl Dempsey, our captain, as well as our vice captain now, is out for a minimum of 6 weeks, according to Steve Evans today, with ankle ligament problems. It's a big blow in a key area. But yeah, back to the Coventry game. I thought they probably should have been in front at half time. There was a couple of times where, just as I was speaking to Jules Anorak on Twitter, and I said to him, we look solid, we look better defensively tonight. I thought that the back four was what I'd run with as our first choice back four from what I've seen, and that was Ryan Jackson at right back, the centre pairing of Jack Tucker and Christian Magoma, and obviously Connor Ogilvie at right back, at left back, with Jack Bonham in goal. But just as I said that, there was a couple of times they got in too easily, ball through the middle, and there was a bigger gap than ideal between the two centre halves. And first one, Jack Bonham makes a really good save. I think it was from Bakayoko, who we'll get onto in a little bit as well. Gets a fingertip on it from a one-on-one situation. It goes behind for a corner. And then shortly after, Tyler Walker got in as well and hit the post when he should have scored. But you deserve your luck, I think, and you ride your luck and you make your own luck in these games. And in terms of application and work rate, like I said, that had to be spot on. I thought it was, and we were competitive. We stood up to everything that they wanted to throw at us. We dealt with anything that came into our box pretty well. And yeah, despite them being better, I thought we were just about value for being 0-0 at the break. I'm sure if you're a Coventry fan, you look at the two big chances and say they should be leading, and that's totally understandable. But yeah, it was 0-0 at the interval, and I've written down a bit lucky here. But obviously the big talking point right at the end of the first half, unfortunately, was the tackle by Bakayoko on Stuart O'Keefe. The ball broken, and our captain on the night got there just in front of the big Coventry man. And I said at the time I thought it was a yellow card, no more. I didn't think there was any malice in it, but I've looked at it back a couple of times. It's not a good challenge at all. He gets there late. He's high on Stuart O'Keefe's leg, it looks like, from the footage. And straight away, you could see Stuart was in trouble. He was slapping the ground in frustration and anger and pain. And it's probably one of them where he knew straight away he was out long term. And his leg just sort of flopped to the ground. There was no rolling or movement at all. And good 5 or 6 minutes later, and gas and air was administered, and he was straight on a stretcher down past the Rainham end out to where a waiting ambulance was. Unfortunately, like I say, it's been confirmed today by Steve Evans that it's a broken leg. It's ligament damage as well, likely. So it's going to be a long road to recovery for Stuart O'Keefe. And as Plenty said on Tuesday night, when it happened, we can wish him all the best and hope that he's back stronger and a bit quicker than anticipated. But get well, Stuart O'Keefe, I think is the overriding message. And yeah, looking at it more than once, which the referee doesn't get the benefit of, maybe it was a red card. But yeah, second half, I thought we started quite brightly. We got on the ball, we tried to get the ball into decent areas a couple of times, and then we got caught with a sucker punch. And I had a frank discussion with Dino McBeano on Twitter. He was adamant that Ryan Jackson didn't do enough, and that's fine, that's his opinion. I said I think sometimes you just have to hold your hands up and say it's a good goal. They worked it well from their right to their left, and I don't think Jacko can get out there when the ball's played into the left-hand channel. And from there, it's a wonderful delivery. And is it the lad Biamu had come on, I think, and steers a great header into the top corner, in fairness. And Jack Bonham's got absolutely no chance. The only thing you'd say is maybe Magoma and Jack Tucker let him in between the two of them too easily. But again, that'll come with time and building up a rapport if they play more regularly together. But sometimes you just have to say it's well worked and it's a decent goal, and that was my view on it. And yeah, then after that we had to really dig in because we suddenly looked a bit leggy. We'd made a couple of changes and obviously one enforced, and we didn't get a lot of the ball. Second half, we were backs to the walls. Every time we got it, it was coming back too quick. It wasn't being held up. For Dane Oliver, I thought was superb on the 91. 13, I think it was, of 21 aerial battles. I thought he was a real threat. Probably his best performance in a Gill shirt so far. But it wasn't sticking with him. Tarnis was kicking in. We were cramping up. I remember Christian Magoma going down. But credit to us, we stayed in the game. Scott Robinson took a whack in the back. I think it's made him a small doubt for Saturday, so we'll have to see how he goes. But we stayed in it. We stayed at 1-0. I don't remember as many clear-cut chances for Coventry second period like the two they had in the first half, aside from the goal. And in the last 5 minutes, fairness, in 5-10 minutes, we came on strong again, and we got the ball down. And Ryan Jackson got a good ball into the box, and for Dane Oliver, it's a stonewall penalty. He's pulled over by the centre half. You see him just put his hands on him, grabs his shirt and pulls him to the floor. And Jordan Graham straight away was on it, sent the keeper the wrong way. And we probably got out of jail a little bit. But like I said, it's one of them games where you know you're not going to see loads of the football and you have to dig in and you have to stay in the fixture. And we did that. And from that respect, I think it'd do us a lot of good. I tweeted that straight after the game. It's against a team that's in a higher division with better players, better technical players. And we had to work very hard. And we did that and we got the rewards. And in terms of the shootout, I'm trying to remember who took them. Conor Ogilvie went first. Who went second? Can't remember. Mellis. Trey Cole scored the winner. Jordan Graham took another one. Who scored the fourth? Can't remember. It's annoying me. But they were brilliant penalties. And in fairness to Coventry, aside from the one they missed, they were all really good as well. I think Jack Bonham got close to one, but that was it. Aside from that, 8 of the 10 were absolutely flawless, right in the corner or sending the keeper the wrong way. But it was great to come out on the right side of it. And in all my years watching Gills, I can't remember a shootout where we've looked as confident from 12 yards. And it was refreshing to see. There was potentially in the game, of just looking at my notes, case for another red card. I think it was Bapega, I think the young lad. A horrendous tackle on Jordan Graham. He's so late, it's ridiculous. And he got a yellow card. And luckily Jordan Graham got up and was okay. I think he saw it coming. But if you look at the footage on the extended highlights on the Gills iFollow app, it's not good at all. So I think they've been slightly fortunate to finish the game with 11 men, sorry. But yeah, back to the penalty shootout win. It was great to see. It's a shame there was no fans there and we couldn't be there to share in it. But we await the result of the Stoke Wolves game later this evening. But yeah, on to Saturday. Obviously, is our second league game of the season. We travel north to take on this team. Wigan Athletic, who we know are in dire straits in terms of financial situations and off-the-field issues, which is something that, regrettably, we seem to be talking about far too much these days. It's only yesterday that Macclesfield have been wound up in the High Court. I can't imagine how you feel as a football fan. We went through it last year with Bury, and now it's another football team going through it. And it seems to be that the North West is an area that's the hotbed of football clubs that are in dire straits, unfortunately, at the moment. If you look at them too, and then you look at Oldham is another example. There's plenty in that area that are really struggling for one reason or another through poor management or EFL, dare I say it, not doing their fit and proper test properly, which seems to be the case with this Wigan situation. They've currently got no new owners. They've currently got no full-time manager. But what I'm going to do before I talk about the game in a little bit more detail is I'm going to leave you with Adam, who runs the Progress with Unity and Wigan Athletic podcast, which I have been on this week. So if you want to check that out, feel free. It is in my Twitter feed. I retweeted it. But he's going to give you a few minutes of his time talking about the situation up there at Wigan Athletic and a little bit about Saturday's fixture. So take it away, Adam.
Hello Gillingham fans, hope you're well. This is Adam Pendlebury from the Progress with Unity podcast. I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview of the current situation at Wigan and I guess how that feeds into the match on Saturday. Sure you're all aware that on the 1st of July we were placed into administration, suffered a 12-point deduction, and despite finishing 10 points above the relegation zone, were relegated into League One. We lost our subsequent appeal. Since that date, we have lost 10 of the players who started the last game against Fulham. Bit of a fire sale, really, whatever you call it. We've had to pay football creditors off, so we've lost top players like Kiefer Moore, Captain Sam Morsey, Anthony Robinson, who was due to go to AC Milan for 10 million in January, actually left for 2 million to Fulham. So yeah, we've lost a squad that was doing really, really well. It probably would have been in a position to push for the playoffs this season under Paul Cook, who we of course lost as well. We've patched the squad up with a couple of short-term signings. Gary Roberts, who's played a lot at this level, has re-signed, having been out of contract, as has Danny Fox, who wasn't available last week, but hopefully will be available this week. Very experienced centre-back. We've brought in a couple of other players as well one player brought in on loan from Hibernian, a fullback, who probably make his debut on Saturday against Gillingham. I think the one I've been most impressed with in the two games is Viv Solomon Otterbar, who has quite a lot of experience at this level. He played a season at Blackpool a couple of seasons ago. Quite a pacey winger, so he's been a good attacking threat so far. And those new signings that have come in have just really added to what was in essence our academy under 23 squad, and 2 or 3 first teamers who, as it currently stands, have not found alternative clubs. So that's the likes of Lee Evans in the central midfield, Joe Garner, who has of course scored lots of goals at this level, Cal Naismith, a utility player who, again, he's very experienced now. We've kept the youngish fullback Tom Pearce, who we got from Leeds last year, but again he's only played a few matches. And we've retained one of our goalkeepers. Marshall left to go to Derby, but we've got Jamie Jones, who again has played quite a few games at League One level and played some games in the Championship as well last season. But it's certainly not the squad it was. We've got some good young players, and our academy's been performing really well over the last few years. Under 23s likewise, but massive step up, and last week we had 7 players making the debuts, Football League debuts for Wigan Athletic. 5 of those were making their actual debuts to come through the youth ranks. Did look good, but a little bit naive at the back, definitely. Sloppy goals. We've conceded 5 in our first 2 games, and you could say that we were probably all avoidable to a certain extent. But when 3 of your back 4 are kind of under the age of 22 and 2 of them are under the age of 19, you can see that the experience is lacking. So as I said to you earlier, Danny Fox hopefully coming in will show that up a little bit. We've got a few good young players to look out for. Chris Merry in the midfield. He's been the captain of the under-23s for the last couple of seasons, so he's doing well. And then we'll probably have on the bench a few of our under-18s who got to the quarter-final of the Youth Cup last year, where we put in some excellent performances in that run, culminated in eventually losing to Manchester United in the quarter-finals just before lockdown. we've had lots of good games, good battles with Gillingham over the years. Always liked to play. I like the club. Obviously, we had our disappointment at Wembley back in 2000 when we were 5 minutes away from going into the Championship. Lost that game 3-2, but then we had more recently, I think the last time we actually met was the 3-2 the 3-2 where we came from behind to win 3-2. They were 2-0 down. I seem to remember that's when Bradley Dack was playing for Gillingham, and obviously he's gone on to be a good Championship player. But yeah, I kind of respect what Gillingham have done with a relatively small budget. They had a good season last year. I think from Wigan perspective, it will be a good benchmark about where this squad actually is. We might lose another player before Saturday. Who knows? That's the perils of being in administration. But for Wigan fans at the moment, the fact that we're just playing football matches is a relief. There was no guarantee that we'd start the season. I guess there's no guarantee as it currently stands that we will finish the season. So if you do take the 3 points, you might not necessarily keep them. I'm still hopeful that we do get an owner coming in, but the longer it goes on, the more worried that you actually get. We lost another club who were in the league last year, Macclesfield. Obviously, Bury went. Being in Kent, you'll know, obviously, going back a while, but obviously examples like Maidstone, not too far from yourselves. Teams do go out of business, and particularly in a pandemic, it is quite tough for clubs to find new funding, really, and that's what we ultimately need to do. We need to find new funding. So as for the game on Saturday, as I said, it's a very good benchmark, really, for where Wigan are at the moment. I'd see Gillingham as a very solid now League One side. So I think it certainly will. It will give us an idea of what kind of season we'll have with the players that we've got at our disposal at the moment. Obviously, that could change for a positive or negative reasons, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it goes. I would definitely take a draw. I think getting your first point on the board for young lads is very important. But you never know. We've got 3 or 4 players in there who are not used to losing home games. We've not lost many home games in the last 2 seasons, so in the last 3 seasons, in fact. So hopefully they can use those experiences and pass them on to the other players in the team. So head says 1-1, but my heart says 2-1 to Wigan Athletic. I wish Gillingham all the best for the season, apart from the 2 games against Wigan. And I hope that you can get back, like all of us can, to watching football safely. Okay, cheers, thank you very much, and goodbye.
Some really good stuff there, mate. Thank you very much. Like I say, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to give us an insight into what's going on at your football club, and obviously trying to look forward to Saturday's game as well. Interesting score predictions. We'll get on to mine in a little while. But yeah, even when you're trying to talk about the football side of things, unfortunately, you end up talking about the non-football side of things, because you look at their squad that was so very good for the second half of last season in the Championship, and in terms of form over that period, they were probably in the top 6. They then got relegated because of a points deduction, because the EFL deemed their fit and proper test to be just that, when it's clearly not. And they've frankly been stitched up, looking from an outsider's perspective, looking in. Gelhardt, I think, has gone to Leeds. Shea Dunkley's left. Kiefer Moore's gone to Cardiff. The left-back Robinson's gone to Fulham. Jamal Lowe stayed in the Championship, gone to Swansea City. Sam Morsey, who was going to stay, it seemed at first, but obviously he's got to look after himself and his career and his family, has gone to Middlesbrough, the captain. Josh Windass has gone to Sheffield Wednesday. It's just a dagger through the heart, I suppose, of every single one of the Latics faithful when you look at the squad that Paul Cook had built up, and he's obviously gone as well, unfortunately. So you can't get away from the non-football side of things, even when you're trying to talk about the football team and the football squad. So it's going to be a very patched up Wigan, I'd imagine. Joe Garner is a player that's been good in this division previously. He scored 2 in their first game of the season as they went 2-0 up at Fleetwood in the Carabao Cup, but unfortunately they couldn't see it out and lost 3-2. And then last week they were competitive. I think they had 2 good chances early doors in the game at Ipswich. Didn't take them, ended up losing 2-0. So it's probably going to be a long, hard season for Wigan, but you just hope that they can get the off-the-field issues sorted as quickly as possible, and then they can concentrate on being competitive at least. In terms of Gill's team news, we've already mentioned the two that are out for a long time is going to be Carl Dempsey and Stuart O'Keefe. That's our captain and our vice-captain, so that's a big blow in terms of experience, leadership and no end of quality in a key area of the park. We've signed Josh Eccles today, ironically from Coventry, played against us on Tuesday night. I don't remember too much of him. I think I was too busy watching us jump out of the way of horrific tackles most of the time, or watching us trying to get the ball off of Coventry City. But he's come with some glowing reviews from Coventry fans today on Twitter. I've retweeted a few of them. Seems he's a deep lying midfielder, good technically, good feet, can pass, can play centre back at a push, has played there for their under 23 side, which I believe he skippers as well. So it seems a really promising addition, certainly in an area that we need. We still need 2 strikers for me and someone else on the left hand side at fullback. But luckily it is an area where we seem all right in the middle. We've still got the likes of Matty Willock and Scott Robertson. We've still got Alex McDonald. We've still got Henry Woods. We've still got Jacob Mellis. We've got the lad, obviously, like I say, Eccles, that's come in today. So we should be okay unless we pick up any more injuries. My big concern, again, comes back to experience and leadership. It's another area now where we seem to lack a bit of that. Got Robbie McKenzie as well that can play in there at a push, I'd imagine, as well. But yeah, I think there might be a bit of onus now on the likes of Alex McDonald with his experience and energy and drive in the middle of the park. I think he could become more key than we'd envisaged maybe a couple of weeks ago. So there is also a small doubt over Scott Robertson, unfortunately, as well. I mentioned the knee in the back on Tuesday. It's made him a doubt for the weekend. But assuming he is fit, my team for Saturday's trip would be same back 5 as Tuesday night. So that's Jack Bonham, Ryan Jackson, Jack Tucker, Christian Magoma and Connor Ogilvie. If fit, I would play Scott Robinson. I thought he was very impressive in the week. Biggest thing for me was the fact that when Coventry tried to get in his face, he stood up to it. He was clever. He played with an experience that probably belied his young years, and I know he's hardly thought of up there. Again, we've spoken to some Celtic fans on Twitter in the last week, and they think he's going to be really, really good in the future. So if he's fit, I would play Scott Robertson. Again, I spoke on Twitter to someone the other night and said there's a chance you could play Robbie McKenzie, but I'm going to go with Matty Willock because Robbie McKenzie's not played in there for us yet. So, and Matty, what I've seen of him so far this season has been decent enough. So I would pair Scott Robertson and Matty Willock as a double pivot of 2. In front of them, I'd like to see a 3 of Jordan Graham, Alex McDonald and Trey Coyle. And I'd go with a Dane Oliver up front. I'd like to see him play in a formation where we've got wide players and can get balls flung into the box at him because he's good in the air. We only have to see that from the the Crawley game where he scored a good goal from a wicked Jordan Graham delivery. He was good Tuesday night, like I say, he set up the goal. I think he should be playing with confidence. And to be quite honest, I've seen more from him than I have from John Akindi at the moment. My bench, therefore, would be Joe Walsh, Zach Medley, Robbie McKenzie, Henry Woods, Josh Eccles, Jordan Mellis, John Akindi. That's all we've got. Steve Evans has said we're close on one more, assuming that wasn't Eccles. Don't know what position, but obviously if Scott Robertson doesn't make it, we're not going to be able to field a bench, it seems. In terms of a prediction, I'm similar to Adam. My heart's saying one thing, my head's saying another. I think if we can go up there and start well and quieten them down and maybe pinch the first goal, then I think we might win it 2-1. I'm still not overly confident in terms of predicting clean sheets with us at the moment. I think over time that will come naturally if we can get some relationships and partnerships built up on the pitch. So head says 1-1, heart says 2-1. So if I've got a plump for a score, I'll go 1-1. That's what I've written down. I've got for Dane Oliver to score our goal. Obviously, I'd love us to pick up 3 points and with it our first win of the season in Sky Bet League One. Right, that is enough from me this evening. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday night. Enjoy your weekend. Obviously going to watch the game, hopefully with Boz on iFollow on Saturday, because that's the way of the world at the moment. After that, we'll be back Monday, definitely, with a Monday review. Fingers crossed we're talking about a positive performance and a positive result. Yeah, that is it. Continue to check out FanHub. Putting fans first. Obviously, it's tricky for them at the moment as well with everything they're trying to do and us fans not being able to go to football stadiums. But do go and join the mailing list. The video will be at the end of this one as well, as always. Until next time, up the Jules.